Welcome, listener, to podcast 82. We're not going to muck about with this one because in a minute, Richard and I are going to go and see if we can find any birds' nests.
Excellent.
Any chance?
Oh, I think there's a good chance.
I do too.
I know where one is.
Do you, Phil?
The starlings are in the starling box.
Oh, he's given it away. That's wrecked the whole show. Never mind, listener. Next week, you'll find out who is the winner to our competition of whatever this sound is. Send your entries to richard@wigglyWigglers.co.uk or heather@wigglyWigglers.co.uk. Now, I've heard some birdies above the Wiggly office.
Yeah.
So, Rich, am I going to let you go and get a ladder?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. I think no, in fact, I'm not sure that it's been long enough since I've been up a ladder, but, we'll give it a go. I've got to get over it, haven't I?
Yeah, maybe I'll go up the ladder.
Yeah, I'd rather I went up. And you could stand underneath me.
I'll hold it. Oh, heck.
It's a bit of a toss-up, but I have seen Heather using a ladder, and I'm not sure which of you's the worst risk.
I get scared when other people are up a ladder.
I don't think Phil would forgive me if anything happened to you.
Off we go. An extremely alarming sight has just appeared. Ricardo
It's not that alarming.
clutching a ladder.
Can't be more alarming than waking up to Phil.
It's my wedding anniversary today.
Oh, yeah, congratulations. Yeah, how long have you married?
Oh, 15 years. Yeah.
Cool.
Right, okay.
Right, we just got
The
this ladder
ladder.
anyway, because I had to have lots of abuse for asking for a ladder in the first place.
Absolutely.
So AD here was kind enough to find me a ladder, which I duly ignored and went and found my own anyway.
Heidi, what do you think of the fact that Richard is holding a ladder?
Well, you know his track record on ladders, so I think I better actually hold a ladder for him to go up.
I think so.
At least it's an aluminium ladder, not a wooden ladder that
Yeah.
you had a slight accident with last time.
Yeah, and the wooden ladder that he had was broken.
Yes, he had some screws and some plates off us to repair the ladder before he actually went up it.
Oh, I didn't know that, Heidi.
You didn't know that?
No,
And
that's not true.
Did he also have some screws and plates to mend his heel?
I think he's still got a couple of plates in his foot now.
Oh, it's so funny.
You want to hold this ladder for
Right, it's a big job, everyone.
Yeah.
It's messed up here.
Right, we've got a nest just above the Wiggly office. So we're just popping up the stairs to have a look.
That other aluminium ladder that you gave me is too... listen, well, I might just be able to see it.
Don't you think you should turn the ladder round?
Put it on that wall there.
No.
That's a good idea. No. Just disgusting. Hey, you're going to hold it for me. It'll be on... It's aluminium.
Right, there's a bit of trauma going on
That's not like
as the whole office vacates to watch Richard go up the ladder. Oh no. Rich, let me pass you the audio.
I did some rock climbing yesterday. I
What?
didn't see these things anyway.
It's going to be all three of them are going to
No, I don't like this.
I can see something in here. Who put these beams on? Did you put these beams on? Oh, there you go. There you go. I can see a bird just come in there. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Hear them squawking away. There's a whole little family in there, but I can't quite make out what they are. I can see through this gap, and it's just gone again. The shadow's just gone out. But
Sound like starlings to me.
quite loud. I think they're probably
Starlings?
aren't they? Yeah. But I can't quite get up there. I can't quite
No,
get
stop
my head
now.
through this gap.
Come down now.
Carefully.
Please.
It's quite high up here, isn't it?
Can you just really gently come down?
Right, I'm on my
Because
way
the
down.
drama of a podcast
my
death would just not be worth it.
No, it wouldn't. Well, it's not AD.
It's good job we didn't have any pictures then, wouldn't it?
I think AD's got a lot of cushioning, so it shouldn't be too bad.
Thanks, Adrian, for coming so much.
There is a safer bird's nest outside with sparrows in.
Right.
You're a good bloke. I don't know what anybody said up here.
The sweat.
Oh, listener, if only you'd been here then. That honestly
I'll be in charge of
was
the
very
ladder.
frightening.
Nice one, cheers.
Nice to see you both. Have a good day.
Oh, my legs are shaking with fear. We're just doing a quick recce of what birds' nests we hope we've got just round the Wiggly office and in the garden. And that was initially quite traumatic. So starlings. So what
I'm
else we
pretty
got?
sure there's starlings in there. There's sparrow's nest under here. See, there's a cock sparrow going under the eaves under here.
And there he is,
There
is
he
it?
is. Yeah, he's just taking a mealworm under there because Noel leaves a good supply of mealworms out for the.
So where does he
Sparrows,
go?
so-
What's he
Yeah,
make
he's
his
just,
nest
just
of?
going in under the guttering there, I think.
Right.
You can see all the nesting fibres underneath
Yeah.
the timber, underneath the fascia board. So it's nice. It's nice. I mean, it's good in a way if you can make buildings like this that birds can kind of get in there and ensconce themselves in between sort of tight cavities. So not block up all the spaces in buildings. A lot of builders, I think, are trying to do that now, aren't they? Trying to incorporate space for birds, certainly swifts and things like that.
So do different birds use different materials, or do they all use hay and mud?
Some possibly would use smaller parts of hay, for instance, but certain birds use different materials. Like a long-tailed tit, for instance, will use moss and spiders' webs, and whereas a swallow or house martin will predominantly make a nest of mud.
I've got a handy heather hint. If you want lots of birds nesting and you want to provide material,
Yeah,
then you need cows' tails.
right. That's interesting. What's this here?
Yeah, that's it.
Cow's tail. So,
Yeah.
is that a cow's tail?
That's a
Or
bit
is it
of cow's tail.
Yeah, so right.
And the dogs bring the cow's tail and put it on the lawn because they've been chomping on it.
Right.
And then all the birds fluff it up and take it off for nests.
Oh, right.
Isn't that handy?
That's very handy. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Well,
if you've
it's
got a
probably a good
garden-
binding material.
Garden in the middle of LA or in the middle of London. Maybe you haven't got cow's tails, so you're missing out.
Yeah, absolutely. What I used to do sometimes when I used to get a pheasant or pluck a chicken or something at the end of the beginning of the spring is
Yeah.
just pluck it on the garden. See all the feathers
Yeah.
drifting everywhere, and the birds come and pick them up.
Yep,
That works quite well. So binning them.
absolutely, Rick.
But there's a lot going on at the moment in the garden. I walked up here the other day, and I can't remember. I was looking at swallows because I'm thinking of I'm going to put a couple of artificial swallows' nests in the new building. The stairs, so we
Fantastic.
can provide those guys with some new homes, save them some energy.
How will it
build
get
them-
in and out, though?
Well, they'll just fly through the front entrance because the front bit of the new dispatch isn't going to be boarded up, is it?
Oh, I see,
Just
yeah.
as long as it's kind of open, so they'll go in. If we put some board underneath there, it just means that they won't be able to poo all over the
My
all over
wiggly
the
car.
All of the products are supposed to go out, yeah, on your car, which is incidentally there's a nice bit of poo build up on your roof.
There
at the
is.
moment,
What
so-
sort of poo is this, Rick?
Well, I think it's a combination of poo. It's a bit of roosting poo. But as we look up through the timbers, you see a couple of swallows' nests. Well, on that swallow's nest, you see a wren.
There's
is
a new
building.
bit.
Yeah.
Oh, what's
So
a
a wren
wren?
is filling in the top of the swallow's nest. Well, it's a nice platform for it, really. A nice, safe place.
So
I
it's
clocked one the other
nicked
day
the swallow's
flying up in
nest.
it, yeah.
So when are the swallows back?
They are back. Yeah, they are, and they're probably looking for nesting sites. But there are several swallows' nests. There's one there. But there's also another wren's nest here. Look, you see on the top there. in the
yeah.
corner.
Do they do that often then?
Yeah, well, they're opportunistic, aren't they? So if they find a site, I mean, sparrows often nick house martins' nests, don't they? Go and fill them with hay. And
I can see the cowtail hair in it.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah. There's all sorts of goodies in there. But wrens are funny because they build lots of nests. They might build 3 or 4 different nests, mock nests. I mean, it always strikes me as a lot of energy, really. Because
Yeah.
if you're going to build a nest, I mean, I guess what they're trying to do is give themselves some options, but perhaps to lure predators away or would-be predators to different situations. But having said that, I'm not quite sure of
Gosh.
the benefits. You may as well just build your nest, see how it goes. If it doesn't go right, build a nest
Build
somewhere
another
else. But they build nests all over the place. A lot of energy. I mean, you think they're little tiny birds the size of a field mouse shooting around the place, building nests.
And the
everywhere.
nest is a good 6 inches diameter.
It is. It's a nice dome. I mean, it's interesting material in there. They've used a combination of things, but it looks like it's been sort of knitted together.
Yeah.
They've literally sort of entwined those threads of what look like kind of roots and
Yeah.
leaves and, like you say, hair.
Cow hair, definitely.
All sorts of stuff in there.
How long does it take? Somebody asked me the other day, once the eggs have been hatched, how long do they take to... once the eggs have been laid, how long do they take to hatch?
Well, it very much depends on the species, but it's usually between sort of 12 and 18 days, something
Is
like
that all?
that. Yeah, not long at all. I mean, you think of a chicken egg, which is a relatively large egg, usually about 21 days. Ducks' eggs, geese eggs, 28 days, something like that. And these small birds, not very long at all. In fact, the whole process is quite quick. Because you think, I mean, they have to try and... They make their nest quickly, they lay their eggs, they sit on them, for, 15 days or something like that. They all hatch. And literally within 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, those chicks are fledging, aren't they? They're ready to go. And I guess it has to be like that, especially for the likes of ground nesting birds, because they need to be up and mobile and fit before their presence is really obvious, so any predators can come in there and take them.
So does each set of birds have one lot of eggs? Do
No,
they try
might
and
have,
do it all
they
over
might have
again?
Several. They might have, depending on the species, but blackbirds, for instance, they might have 3 or 4 clutches a year, but only 1 or 2 of them will survive into adult birds. I mean, they have lots and lots of clutches, but most of them die.
Right.
And they either, they get taken out by sparrowhawks or cats, or they just die natural causes.
I knew you have to bring those up.
Well, I could miss an
Of course.
opportunity, could I?
Yeah.
But if we have a wet spring or something, then I think we're quite lucky this year, because it's, so far as the birds are concerned, I mean, we do need some water now from some of the vegetation. But I think the birds, there's quite a lot of larvae around, seemingly. So tits and wrens and whatnot are feeding their young on live. Oh, here we go. Ah, listen. So what have you got in here?
Starlings.
There's starlings in here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that they're about, but they're silent at the moment, are they? I expect they're asleep.
They are. Well, they'll just. What sometimes happens if you suddenly. No, you see, it works. Sometimes it works the other way around. I mean, what tends to happen is the chicks will always be quiet when the parent birds aren't around.
Ah.
Because if they're noisy and you get something like, if you've got a bird box on an apple tree or something like that, and a weasel, kind of motions past and suddenly hears chicks squawking in a bird box, it'll shoot its way up the tree, of course, straight in the hole, and woof, nice, tea time,
Yeah.
So they try and they're trying to be as quiet as they possibly can. It's just that when the parent bird comes, of course, then it's like, feeding time at the zoo. They've got to, they're so competitive, they've got to get in first. So they get their big, wide, yellow gapes open and make as much noise and as feisty as possible, so the parent can.
But they're only
stick
out
its
for them.
food into, so they're out for themselves, really. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't care about each other then.
Well, not really. I mean, I think it's. I don't suppose they think of it like that. I mean, perhaps we shouldn't sort of credit them with the sort of empathy or sympathy that we have.
After all, they have got bird brains.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But I think it's just it's natural selection, isn't it? It's nature's way. It's survival of the fittest. So,
yeah.
And that's that's a good thing in many respects, and it has to be like that, because when they get out of that bird box, then it's the survivors that are going to make it to the breeding age.
And people often feed birds, don't they? But they less often provide them with the habitat that they need to actually breed.
Yeah.
So, but it's really exciting when a bird chooses your garden to breed in. Now, come over here, Rich.
Yeah, see, that's a wren in the background there. That people often don't imagine that a wren could make so much noise.
Okay, so we've got a bee nester here.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
Right,
but
but
this is doing well.
No, but look, right, get right down here.
Yeah. Oh wow! Hey, that's a double habitat box.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So we've
Where's
got.
it going in?
It
It
goes
must be going
up round,
in. Its hole is up round the
Yeah.
side. You see, that's made of slightly different material to the ones we've just seen in your garage.
So is this a wren nest
Yeah, this is a wren
inside
nest.
a bee box?
It is. It's a wren nest inside a bug box. So not only here you've got all these hollow stems that are, well, some of them have been plugged up with mud, so they're full of probably red mason bees, blue mason bees, and you've got a lovely little domed moss-built wren's nest on top of the cardboard encasing. Yeah, fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's really
Jenny
good stuff.
Steele spotted it on
On Saturday.
Saturday. She was sat here and she saw the wren go, up in there.
Yeah.
And I said to her, oh no, should I move it because it's so low?
Yeah.
And she said, because it's so protected, it'll probably be absolutely fine.
Fingers crossed. As long as Mr. Badger doesn't get in here. Hopefully Mr. Badger, because Mr. Badger's a bit partial to some of these stems that are filled with bug larvae.
Oh,
isn't
is he?
Yeah. I think he likes to use it as a kind of a candy stick, you know.
Is that why he pulls them out and puts them all over the garden?
Yeah. Scrunches them up. But you can see that way some of these stems, the pithy stems of the elder, have been excavated. Some of the solitary bees, sort of leafcutter bees and whatnot, prefer to excavate their own stems. But that's great. I mean, that really is fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a double whammy.
I like that one.
That's a double whammy. What's interesting?
I'll take a picture for my blog.
Yeah, that'll be good. What's interesting is folks often say if they put out a bumblebee box or something like that, and they'll say, "Oh, how do you get bumblebees?" Because I've only got mice in here. Or, you know, if I put a frog box, I've only got voles in my frog box. But I always think it's great. If you put something there, then you're providing habitat for something. It might not be exactly what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant that you're providing a home for something or other.
Yeah.
So any embellishment as far as habitat's concerned in a garden is superb. All these things are, you know, have a role in the ecology of the
But
garden.
as humans, we do like a certain thing for a
Yeah,
certain
we do.
job.
Well, this is the whole thing about gardening, isn't it? It's like psychologically impregnated that the right plant has to be in the right place.
Yes.
And if the plant isn't there, if we haven't put it there,
It's a weed.
Then it's inappropriate, and it's a weed. And of course, you know, to get away from that mindset is very much what natural gardening is all about, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we're here. Do you want to do a bit of pond dipping? See if
We can
anything's
do.
going
Yeah.
on?
Shall we have a look?
Why don't we?
We did. Everything's come into life now. I think this garden is.
Oh, what?
Is
Birds
absolutely
getting mad?
fanatical. Yeah. One of the problems of importing foreign aquatic, well, any foreign plants, but especially foreign aquatic plants, you've got a load of stonewort in here. This is like a New Zealand stonewort, which the birds love it to bathe on. You know, they'll get on there and you know, they'll be flapping away, and it's a really good platform. But it's so invasive that it just kind of, you can see how it's growing into the pond, and if you're not on top of it all the time, then it would quite easily take over. So in a wild situation, you know, it sort of blankets absolutely everything else out. You know, in this situation it's fine because, you know, we can come out and we can pull it out if it gets too invasive, and it does provide a really good platform for the birds.
Right, get the nets then.
Right. And look at the size of these snails.
Yeah.
Massive greater pond snails in here. I mean, look at that guy, that's huge. That's a whopper. How big's that, do you think?
That is a good 3.5 centimetres long.
Gotta be, isn't it? Gotta be. And these guys are fine. I mean, in a wildlife pond, it's always great to have a load of snails. They're quite carnivorous, you know, though.
I was just going to ask you, what's he doing? Because he's kind of just hanging out.
Yeah, he's kind of hanging out. I mean, they're grazers, obviously. But they'll spend a lot of time. You see that one down there that's just under the surface, and you can see its mouth is just kind of mopping up material that's just under the surface film. And that might be, you know, tiny insects that floated and died on the surface. It might be algae. But if they could get hold of a tadpole or a newt pole or something like that, they'll eat it. Definitely. But obviously they're kind of slow, so... Well,
I don't know anything about snails, so where is its head and its bum and everything?
So it's a bumblebee in the end of the shell, in fact.
So where's the poop come out?
They're very much kind of part of the shell, so you can't sort of extract it and expect it to live. With these guys, the shell is growing all the time, so the shell grows alongside the animal inside.
So did it start as a tiny spiral?
Tiny little
and it's
spiral.
growing round it?
Pretty much what it is. A bit like the rings of a tree. And you can age these things by you see this here is probably about 12 months growth. So it's almost like the concentric rings in the section of a tree stump. And I always think they're lovely animals, really. There can be a problem. I remember years ago when we were fish farming, snails could be a problem because they can carry some various parasitic spores, and if they get into a sort of a commercial fish breeding program, then they can infect some of the fish with those parasitic spores. And we had lots of problems with eye flukes and things like that as a consequence of snails. But in a natural setting like this, no problem at all.
People don't
like
fish in this snails, though, do they? Why is that?
I don't know. I mean,
because they're always saying to me on the phone, "Oh, does the nemeslug kill snails too?"
Yeah, because snails are gorgeous. You know, you have
no jam.
Jam's in the pond.
Jam's in the pond.
What a drink. Jam doesn't quite realise that she shouldn't be in here.
No.
She does like to get in, have a drink, squash a few newts and stuff.
Yes. Oh, she's going for a swim.
Yeah.
I can't control her. There we are. Jam! Come on. Good girl. Yeah, where were we?
The snails, the fact folks want to kill all their snails. It's nice to see a few snails in there. I think, especially the stripy ones. Those brown-lipped and yellow-lipped snails. The ones that are pink and yellow and brown.
Yeah.
They're fantastic-looking things. When you come across them, it's a shame to bump them all off.
So is that a baby snail?
Yeah, these guys. So this guy here is a little tiny pond snail. That's a much younger pond snail.
Yeah.
I don't know how that one's probably a couple of years old, I expect.
And how do they decide whether or not to float belly up or hang on to that rock? What are they doing at each stage?
Well, this guy here, so this guy is crawling along this rock and it's grazing on the algae that's on the rock.
Right.
So that's what it's feeding on at the moment. I guess it's very much what they want to do. You see now, that one, you can see quite clearly the mouth supping in algae from the surface of the water. So it's just a kind of feeding preference, really. Whereas this one down here is dragging itself round that elodea, that Canadian pondweed, just dragging itself round and probably feasting on the algae that's on the edge of the leaves. They're probably not even feeding on the plant itself.
So if they're going for the algae, are they keeping the pond clean?
Yeah, it certainly helps to keep the pond, to keep the algae down in the pond. They do clean. If you have snails in aquariums, for instance, you can often see how they can leave their trails up the side of the tank if you've got lots of algae in there, because they're grazing off the side of the tank. So they definitely have a role in here. A little ragged robin coming there, look.
Oh yeah.
That's a great little plant, isn't it? Just one on its own. So what else have we got in here? I mean, as you can see, the pond skaters. These guys, they fly, so they're quite quick to colonise ponds because they can fly from one water body to another, and they feel vibrations in there. You see the way their legs are just settled into the surface of the pond water, so they're feeling for vibrations there. And oddly, they can distinguish between the vibrations of one of their the same species or that of a little insect in distress. So if you've got a bluebottle or something that lands on there that drowns, then they can tell the difference between that or another pond skater, and they'll zoom up to it,
so we can
grab
see
hold of it,
something
and
else.
suck the juices from it. And that little guy, do you know what that is?
No.
That's a whirligig beetle.
Oh, whirligig.
Yeah, a little whirligig beetle.
So is he under threat from that skater?
No, he's fine. He's fine.
Right, because he's too big.
He's too big and hard-bodied, so it would be very difficult for them to penetrate that body with their feeding apparatus.
And a whirligig, what's he about then?
Well, I suppose the reason they're called whirligigs is sometimes, when you see it on a pond and the surface of the water seems to be zooming little lines, swirling around, and really, really at high speed. Those are whirligig beetles, so they're whirling, so they're little beetles that are whirling, and often you get groups of them that'll rotate very, very quickly. People often mistake them sometimes for fish. They'll see something skittering across the surface and they'll say, oh, look, there's a fish. But it's quite often a whirligig beetle.
Right,
and
dip your net in, love.
We've got, I suppose there should be some, I think we might be a bit early for larvae yet, but we can have a go. I did see a few things the other day, greater diving beetles and whatnot.
Well, we've got a leaf.
Yeah, a big leaf. Oh, there we go. What's that? That's a damselfly larvae.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, damselfly larvae, so little guy there. Ooh, mud and all, there you are. So it's probably, there's quite a lot of common blue damselflies on this pond, so that's probably what it is, the larvae of that. So that'll stay in the pond for a couple of years.
That's amazing. So, and then when will he fly?
Well, this one here looks as though it might be coming of age, so it might be thinking about coming out, emerging from the pond this summer.
Right.
So, June, July time, it might well emerge and hatch into a damselfly and live a relatively short life to mate and lay eggs and then have lots of more of these little guys. So, this pond is very fertile, in fact. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going on in here. There were some things that's just starting to happen now, really. I mean, even though we've had an incredibly mild April, very hot, in fact. Things are just starting to happen now. It's just kind of greening up a bit. What else?
Jenny said there's wow, look at
loads
those.
of those. So there's an absolute plethora of damselfly nymphs in here now.
30 in your net?
Yeah, easy.
Probably.
Easy.
Gosh.
That's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's a whole load of those little guys in there. A couple of pond snails.
Jenny said that somebody bought a book out that said you cannot have a wildlife pond that is working properly without a pump.
Oh, right. That's silly.
Yeah, I thought...
some writers do say some amazingly funny things. You know, you
don't
do
have
read
pumps
things.
in wildlife, do you? I mean, obviously you have streams and things like that.
No. I mean, a lot of things hate disturbed water. What's that in the background? Oh, it's the army camp, isn't it? It's the SAS camp. They're probably training.
There's a bit of war in the background.
Yeah.
Richard and I are just going to don our bulletproof vests. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it must be. They're training over at Credden Hill.
For those listeners who don't realise, we are in the middle of rural Herefordshire, but not too far from the SAS camp.
No, it's
So
just down the road.
it's just down the road. So we go. And actually, Rich, they phoned up last week. Did you hear this?
No.
To say that they are going to be spying on us from the wood.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, as part of an exercise.
As part of an exercise, and do we mind?
I'll go out there and do a moonie in a minute then.
Well, I've made sure I've had my gym jams on ever since.
Yeah, definitely.
One wouldn't want to upset them.
No, definitely not. No.
Yeah,
That's
so
fair.
pond pump.
Yeah, pumps. I think pumps. Lots of people have pumps in ponds, especially if they have fish, because fish tend to stir up the water all the time, and there's a lot of excretia with fish. So you tend to get high builds up of nutrient, and as a consequence, you get lots of algae. Now, if you pump a pond around, you send the water through ultraviolet filters, then that helps to clean, to kill off single cell algae. And also, if you have biological filters, then you tend to have a better filtering of the nutrient, so that the nitrites are broken down more effectively. But if you don't have fish, you don't have to worry about all that. And in many respects, there's lots of lilies, for instance, that don't like the water being irritated. So, no, if you've got a wildlife pond, the last thing you need is a pump. You need a nice, balanced mix of vegetation. That's all you need, really. A sufficient depth, 60 centimetres, something like that will be absolutely fine, even though you can get away with shallower ponds. We recommend that you have a depth of about 60 centimetres. But no, I think a pond is the last thing, and that's kind of peculiar, the way someone would suggest that you can't have a wildlife pond without a pump. I'm not sure what's going on there.
I think one of the most important things is to have really gentle edges at some points, isn't it?
Definitely.
Because that's when you can get all these marginal plants.
Yeah. Well, everything can get in, like jam getting in and out easily.
Yes.
It just kind of wanders in and splashes about and wanders back out again without any problem whatsoever. It doesn't have to panic. And if you do get unfortunate things plopping in there, like hedgehogs, even badgers or something, then they can get out without panicking, and then they're not going to drown. But also for make life easier for various amphibians. Your frogs and your toads and your newts, they're just going to be able to crawl in there nice and easily. And in the wild, in a natural pond, very few natural ponds are steep sided.
Of course. I mean, we started off looking for birds' nests, and now we've gone out delve in the pond.
Yeah, are there any more birds' nests in the garden?
I don't know. Should we have a look?
I hear that wren again in the background. The wren's quite active. I think probably one of the reasons why the wrens they tend to do quite well, because there's always lots of mealworms, aren't there?
Yeah.
And they're really carnivorous little birds, wrens. I think most birds feed their young on insect larvae or grubs and whatnot. Anyway, even if they're seed feeders, goldfinches, for instance, that are, the adult birds
What's
are
that
seed
noise?
feeders, but they'll be. It's something cursing us, and I think it's a robin, but I can't see it. Yes, it is a robin. There it is. There, look.
Where?
Just there, and I think he's cursing Jam.
Ah.
So that's a warning. That's a warning sound. So he's got a nest somewhere, and it sounds like the male bird. It definitely sounds like
I
the
can
male
see
bird
him.
protecting his nest. So somewhere around
There he
here,
is.
Robin is nesting. Yeah. That's so close now. How far away now? Oh, I mean, we're 4 foot away.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's not bothered by us at all.
He's bothered
But
by
he's
Jam.
bothered by Jam, who's kind of foraging around in the base of the hedge.
And so, bearing in mind that our hedge isn't that old and it's not that dense yet,
Yeah.
would you expect to find a nest?
Not in here, I think. It's not quite dense enough yet.
So it's serious patience, this job, isn't it?
Because when we were kids, growing up in the country, we used to spend hours and hours birds nesting. You can recognise the behaviour of animals, There's another robin there, just landed. Sometimes you have birds, perhaps nesting for the first time, will make a nest in a ridiculous place because they don't know any better.
Right.
But of course, if you're providing habitat for birds, putting a bird box in the garden, then really there's a little bit of thought required. Oh yeah, there you go, look. So that's what's going on here.
Oh, it's there. Oh my gosh.
It's buzzing away.
How many tubes then? There are
Kind of practically every single tube in there.
Right, for those of you who aren't, watching this, because we are acutely aware that you can't see it, there are probably 6 buzzy bees going in and out like mad of our bee nester box. And one seems to be obsessed with going in the back of the box.
Yeah.
Oh, another one's come out. And so are they filling it with mud, or are they thinking about it? What are they up to?
You see this one here? I just put my hand up there and frightened it away, but it had a mouth was full of mud. Do you see that? So it's collecting mud from somewhere. I think people often think of these things as, oh no, they're a bee, run away, they're going to sting us, but they're completely harmless. So
That's good, because one's just landed on your arm.
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're going into the back of these stems and they're depositing pollen and nectar, and they're laying a little egg next to it, and then they're capping off each of those capillaries with a plug of mud, and they do that right to the end of the stem. You can hear those robins are really cursing us now. We've got to be close to the nest somewhere.
Yeah.
It's got to be here somewhere. Is there another nest box close to attached to the wall?
Yeah, there's one over there.
I wonder if it's in there.
Let's go and have a look.
Let's have a look.
And Jam's aware of it, isn't she?
Yeah, Jam. Where are you nesting, Robin? You don't want us to go anywhere near you, do you? She's trying to take us away, you see. She doesn't want us to go. So it's here somewhere. I wonder where.
There was... there's a nest box over there, but that's not her sort of nest.
Is this empty in here?
Right.
Nothing in there. Is there another nest box?
Yeah, there's one just up there.
She could be nesting in there, you see.
But she took us there, did she? So would that be not
They
likely?
are going balmy. So
Yeah. Are we doing any harm by looking for nests?
it's always best not to.
Yeah.
If all these creatures, they don't like disturbance at all. Nature thrives on neglect.
Yeah.
So if you can avoid disturbing the birds when they're nesting, then let them alone. That's by far the best thing to do.
But then part of the human thing of bothering to put nest boxes up is the pleasure of knowing.
Yeah, well that's right. Just being that little bit inquisitive, I guess. But so there's a nest in here.
Right.
I can't see anything inside, and I've got a feeling that it's too small for
Right, we've got 2 more to check.
robins. But she's
They're very annoyed. And Jam's very intrigued because they are very annoyed.
in here somewhere. Robins nest in the most peculiar places as well.
Teapots.
Teapots, yeah. I mean, it's a great thing if you've got an old teapot that you don't want to, or rather you do want to throw out, you don't want to use anymore, then jam it into the hedge. Oh, that could be it in there, you know. There's a silver birch box at the back wall there.
Right.
And they're both birds, both cock and hen.
Oh, there. Oh, yes.
Cursing us blind.
Yeah.
They don't want us to be anywhere near here.
So, are they protecting? Oh, yeah. Are they protecting their eggs then now?
They're they're just protecting their nest. So there may be chicks. There may be. Well, that's interesting. There's a wasp nest in the back of that nest box.
Go through those nettles and tell us about it. Go on. It's your job.
Yeah.
You're the great white hunter.
Yeah. So I'm not sure where the robin is. So the robin. Oh, there is a nest in there.
Oh.
But I don't think it's an old nest. No, it's an old nest that isn't. There's an old nest in there. It hasn't been used now, but what's interesting is there's a wasp nest. Again, a sort of double whammy habitat box. There's a little. It's something that the queen will have made on her own to start off a colony. And there's nothing coming and going now, so. Excuse me, I've just inhaled a fly.
Always a handy thing to do when you're on a wildlife walk.
Too much talking. I think that's probably it, but it does look quite new. So I'm sure that's this first year's wasp nest. So there's a wasp starting to build in that box there.
So a lot of people would go straight out, Rich, get their Stanley knife and
yeah, cut it off and kill the queen. It's interesting. It's a shame people hate wasps so much. I mean, they are really aggressive and they will sting. It does hurt when it stings you, and I've had to bump off wasps' nests. But I'd always say if it's in a place like this, for instance, back of the garden, no one's going to come down here really. You're going to walk past it, 10 yards away, the closest you're going to get. absolutely fine. Leave it there, because wasps are important. They're going to be killing off a lot of really pest insects. They're going to be killing hundreds of thousands of pest insects through the course of the year to feed their larvae. So they're important in a garden. So I kind of leave alone if you can. But obviously, if they're dangerous, then you've got to do something about it.
Right, now we've ground them up so much. Shall we leave them be?
Yeah, I think so. I think we'll have to give up
Yeah.
trying to find, but that's a good thing in a way, because if we can't find the nest, then hopefully nothing else will.
Yeah. They're still cross. Sorry, Robin. We'll take Jam away. There we are. Now, next week, we've got some really, really exciting news about some new additions to Lower Blakemere Farm.
Oh, wow.
Some new
Yeah.
royal additions. We'll leave it there. Over and out.
Bye.
Bye.
Are you excited, Phil?
We haven't got them yet, have we?
No, we're going to talk about it.
Oh, right.
Oh, you dipper. I'll do it again.
You said it's going to be cut out anyway. Are they subsidised by the state? That's what I should have said rather than social budget. That's a bit harsh, possibly. But are they subsidised by the state?
15 years today.
Oh, come on.
Right.
I'd have only got 12 if I'd shot her.
Yeah, but I'd have shot you back.
Yeah, just imagine how boring life would have been without
Then you get breakfast in there, Rich, so it might not come in.
Oh, they are funny. Right.